837, Big 550 KTRS. Well, there are some of those charities that you just, right? They're a little, they're like tug at your heartstrings, and this one is one for me. The Center for Hearing and Speech, Executive Director Rita Tantera. Rita, welcome back to Big 550 KTRS.
Thank you for having me.
May is National Speech and Hearing Month, right?
Absolutely, yes.
So you're here a little early since it's still March.
Well, yes. Maybe I come back.
You can come back in May and talk about that. But the Center for Speech and Hearing, tell us about it.
We've been around for almost 100 years, and what we do is we really help people be able to communicate.
Right.
We're helping people with hearing loss and people who have speech language disorders.
Right. Many seniors, but also you deal with a lot of kids. And as somebody who is a stutterer myself, you guys do God's work because people don't realize how hard it is to communicate when the words don't come out.
Yes, and you have mastered it incredibly well, but a lot of people have great difficulty all their lives.
Yeah.
So therapy plays an essential role with them.
When I was a kid, they told me, slow down. Right? Slow down. You're speaking too fast. Slow down.
Yes.
Is that good advice for somebody?
There are certain things that you do that slows down your rate of speech, but it isn't. It's a little bit more technical than just saying slow down,
Right.
because when someone's doing that to someone having a problem who's blocking and not able to get it out, it just makes it worse.
Right. It's like I can't not say it any slower.
Correct. It makes it worse. But there's the therapeutic technique that teaches people how to manage how their flow of speech comes out.
It's one of the few disorders, or whatever you want to call it, that people are still allowed to make fun of, too.
Well, they shouldn't.
No, I understand that. But
they do.
They do, and it's still somewhat socially acceptable to make fun of somebody who has a stuttering problem.
Yes, it is. And, it's not as bad as it used to be, but it is still out there. And I'm sure that you are well aware of when that happens.
Right.
Not that they're making fun of you, but you're going to be tuned into it if they're making fun of someone else.
Right. We have come light years, haven't we, in the last 20, 30 years, and how we deal with speech?
Yes, we have. And we work a great deal with kids. We do work with adults also,
Right.
but right now we have our speech language pathologist in 17 different schools and child care centers, all serving families that are low-income families. And the tools that the speech pathologist uses now are so much different than they used to be.
Right. And they're also finding out, is it not true, Rita, that if the children get help, the earlier they get help, the better it is for the rest of their life?
Absolutely, and that is absolutely true about a stuttering disorder, but it's true about any kind of an articulation problem or a language delay. And for language delays, it's critical that we get to kids as early as possible because it plays such an important role in their academic development, being able to learn to read and to write.
And new parents, often they would say, well, I need to check on that. I'm busy doing something else. Oh, he's just a late starter. She'll speak later, right? Those we've come to find out is detrimental to the long term.
It can be very detrimental. We always encourage families, if you have any kind of doubt at all, get an evaluation done. And if your child doesn't need therapy, at least you know that then.
Right.
And if he or she does, you can grab it and take care of it immediately.
One of the things that was just, I think, really helped me more than anything was, one, realizing I wasn't alone.
Correct.
Right? I mean, you hear people say that all the time, and it never really made sense to me until I was like, wait a minute. You mean I knew other people stuttered, but I didn't know other people could fix it, and I didn't know you could fix it. But the other thing was the delayed headphones. Do they still play with the delayed headphones?
I think some therapists do still use the delayed feedback technique.
Yeah,
yes.
where they put the headphones on and you can hear yourself a millisecond later, a tenth of a second, a 20th of a second
Correct.
later, and it really teaches you how to draw out your words in an overcompensated way, so that when you take the headphones off, you're learning how to speak all over again.
Yes, and I do know they still use that technique along with many other
Sure.
newer techniques.
Yeah.
And it's individualized depending on who they're working with.
Yeah. With me, they didn't want to send me to a speech doctor because they didn't want to think something was wrong with me.
Right.
Right?
And there's nothing wrong with you.
Right. Well, no, there are many things wrong with me, none of which have to do with my speech. But I mean, that was the thought process back in the 70s. Was
Of course it was.
we're not going to send them to therapy. We don't want them to think something's wrong with them.
Exactly. The same thing that no one wanted to admit that anyone had a hearing loss for the same reason.
Yeah, yeah. 100 years you guys have been around.
Almost. In 2020, it'll be 100 years.
That is unbelievable. All right, what is coming up on March 31st?
We have our only annual special event, the Twilight Masquerade, and it's being hosted by Hollywood Casino for probably the 5th year in a row.
Okay.
And it's food and entertainment, lots of auction items. The biggest thing about the event is that it really puts a spotlight on what the center does for people living with communication disorders who don't have the money to access services they need.
And so this is open, one and all. Are you selling tables?
We are selling tables, we're selling individual tickets, and anyone can come.
All right, what's the website to find out more?
It is hearing-speech, STLOUIS.org.
All right, I'm assuming we could just Google Hearing and Speech St. Louis and it'll pop
that'll
up?
pop up, yes.
All right, good. It's March 31st to benefit the Center for Hearing and Speech, Friday, March 31st at the Hollywood Casino. What would you tell a parent who's listening to this, listening on every word, who has an infant, who realizes that their son or daughter is somewhat a little delayed, maybe stuttering, maybe stammering? They've noticed that it's not quote-unquote normal. What would you tell that parent?
I would tell that person to seek out the services of a professional speech-language pathologist and have an evaluation done.
Because, and now, is this true? Because I still, there you go, I still suffer every day. They've taught me tricks of the trade.
Correct.
But I still very much deal with it every day. Is it true if you get to the kids early enough, it almost virtually goes away?
In most cases, yes. The earlier you can treat a disfluency in a child,
Right.
the more likely that they don't deal with it the way that you do every day.
Why is it that so many stutterers want to go into broadcasting and television?
Now, that I don't know. To prove that they can handle it.
It's strange, the number of people
Yes.
who are stutterers who have gravitated towards radio and television is just amazing. Why do more boys suffer from stuttering than girls?
I don't know the answer to that,
Is it-
but it is statistically true.
Yeah. How about, are there more left-handers who stutter than not?
There better not be. I'm left-handed.
All
No.
right. All right, fair enough. Good. Rita Tantera, Executive Director of the Center for Hearing and Speech. What is your website to find out more?
Again, hearing-speech, STLOUIS.org, or just Google hearing and speech and we'll pop up.
The Twilight Masquerade, Friday, March 31st. You guys are always welcome here. Thank you for all you do, because there really are kids out there who are just begging for help, who don't know you're out there, and who can't access the resources, and it's just sort of tragic. So thank you for your work.
Thank you, McGraw. Thanks.
8:40.